Win big in 2025 with Team Sync from RotoBaller. Import your fantasy teams and sync your leagues. Get customized tools and tailored advice for your specific rosters and scoring settings, including live recommendations from the live draft assistant, free agent finder, and lineup optimizer. Sync an unlimited amount of NFL, MLB, NBA, and NHL fantasy teams from all of the major fantasy platforms. Get a discount for any premium pass using my promo code Knuckler. Just visit rotoballer.com/radio and start rotoballing like a boss. This podcast is also brought to you by Parlay Play Fantasy Sports. Use my referral code RotoBrady. Get that sweet, sweet deposit bonus. They got paid contests coming to a state near you. They're giving out boosts and bonuses and slashing lines all day long. Check it out. It's a real fun platform over there. And what is up, everybody? This is Brady Grove bringing you another interlude episode of RotoBaller's official MMA podcast. Tap that real quick. Follow me on Twitter at RotoBrady. We get UFC 323 later in the day. It'll already have happened by the time this comes out. Follow me on Instagram, RotoBrady MMA. Follow the podcast at Tap That MMA Podcast on YouTube and Spotify. And with me today,
27 seconds into the third and final round, declaring your winner by TKO, Josiah Muscle Hamster Harrell.
He is a 10-0 professional fighting out of Grove City, Ohio, 27 years old. Give it up for Josiah Muscle Hamster Harrell. What's up, Josiah? How's it going, man?
Good. How you doing, Brady?
Oh, doing good, man. And so, first off, I was actually at your last two fights.
Were you?
Ohio Combat League. So, I go to like Muay Thai and Nogi Jiu-Jitsu classes at Carlson Gracie NKY.
Okay.
Some of the guys, especially on those Newport cards, a bunch of dudes are usually like on those. So the first one I saw, and so I want to start off with this, was the Melvin Gillard fight.
Yeah.
So, and especially when I saw Melvin Gillard was on the card, I was like, I'm 100% going to this. I will clear everything on my calendar. The circumstances of it were unusual. How do you prepare? Do you prepare any differently at all for a guy like Melvin Gillard, who at one point was like a top 5 UFC lightweight contender? And, you know, obviously that was a very, very long time ago in his career. And he just like had a kickboxing match, I think. So what was it like going into that fight with, you know, facing the biggest name you've ever faced for sure?
It wasn't any different. Like, honestly, this is the only fight camp that we're getting ready for in January where we actually made it a fight camp. Everything else was just like, okay, we got to train, do our stuff, do what we're doing. It wasn't like, okay, let's worry about this, let's worry about that. We seen how explosive he could be, and we had to be aware of that. And there were a lot of things we had to be aware of. But other than like changing my game plan, I was still in a mindset of like, I'm good. I know I'm good. So. And it was my ego coming out, but I wanted to see I still want to see what people are capable of, but I wanted to see what people are capable of. It wasn't until my last fight until I'm like, I'm not doing that no more. That's you at this point you can't just sit and wait and come on, let's show me what you got, show me what. No, it's get in, do exactly what you're supposed to do, and get out. So now we've started making a game plan, but for Melvin, we didn't really have one. We knew our grappling was better. We knew we wanted to showcase the striking a little bit. I think he ended up wanting to throw me after I threw him because I threw him, landed him on his head. I was hitting, and then I kind of was like, okay, is this how I want to finish the fight? And we kicked him, we let him up, and then he ended up wanting to throw me. I don't know if that was because he needed a big show or whatever, but we ended up reversing it, staying on the back, and we kind of just finished it there. But for the Melvin, it was more exciting. He talked a lot. He's very confident in his ability, which everybody at this point should be. But we didn't change much. It was more just doing what we had to do.
It was just such an interesting matchup. Like when you see like someone with such a long history in the sport who is, you know, bouncing around at a bunch of different places and he makes a stop in Ohio Combat League. it was like it certainly catches your eye when you're looking at like an Ohio Combat League card and you're like, whoa, who's on it? And so, but like, the only way to summarize like how that fight went is like you mauled him. It really, that was how that went. You really, the video of you tossing him actually made the rounds pretty well. Like some like kind of bigger accounts on Twitter and stuff. I think I saw shared that video, but like that was a very memorable moment of that fight, like one of the particularly big slams.
I don't think I have a Twitter. Oh, well, that's good to know. I'm happy it got around at some point.
Yeah, people were like, "Oh my God, Josiah Harrell in Ohio Combat League just like threw Melvin Gillard." Like it was very apparent, like being live at that fight. The fight was like it was the outcome felt inevitable pretty quick, and so it must have to you.
I kind of like to see what happens, which I have to get out of that mindset just because at this point we're all pros. We all know what we're doing. There's no seeing what happens. If we give the person the advantage or we give them the benefit of the doubt, they're going to do what they need to do. So it was good though. I enjoyed it. Melvin's a good dude, and it's like it's done with. So on to the next.
It was, yeah, I was always a big fan of him as a kid. But
Scrapper.
some of the younger dudes that I know, like at Carlson Gracie, I was like, dude, Melvin Gillard's on that card. And they were like, who's Melvin Gillard? I'm like, I was like, dude, I'm only like 6 years older. That's the whole difference. But so then just a few months later, back in August, Ohio Combat League again, and you beat Keegan Ginrich by unanimous decision. And that is another big one, especially for where you're trying to get and where you hope to be very soon. That guy's been in some bigger LFA fights, and he's like been in some like of those similar spots. So going 3 rounds and beating him by decision, that's a tough thing for a lot of people to do, but you pulled that off. So how did you feel like that fight played out? Preparing for a guy like, even though he doesn't have like it's not like he has fought like 30 times, but like the experience he has had is certainly valuable.
Yeah, definitely. He has had the belt at LFA. He's had a lot of good fights, beat a lot of good people, fought a lot of great people. No, I mean, the thing is it put me in a mindset to where now I'm like, no, we have to, because I didn't watch film before anybody. Like I didn't watch film. I didn't prepare. I didn't really do anything. I just kind of wanted the excitement of figuring out this puzzle that was in front of me happening in real time. And Keegan is the last time I'm doing that, just because I didn't realize his grappling was going to be so funky. Like if I would have known that ahead of time, which I should have, because it's the easy thing to do, just go and watch your opponent and do these things. If I would have seen that ahead of time, then we don't have to worry about that. And then I also think that we should have grappled more. I think that we should have finished him after we hit him with a head kick and dropped him, and then we started going into those funky rolls again. But either way, it was a good fight, a lot of experience. If anything, it humbled me to the point where I'm like, it pissed me off so much that I wanted to finish the guy that I did not get to. That I just started working and working and working, and it bothered me so much that it's like, no, I'm gonna fix everything just so next time when we get in this position, when this happens, we're finishing. We're not. I don't really care for decisions. Like obviously, if you get to a decision and you win and everybody knows that, fine. But it bothers me that I was not capable of finishing the guy, and that humbled me. So the fight was fun. Fight was enjoyable. But I want to get to a point where like I'm going to finish these people. I don't care about anything else. Like we're going to fight, and it's either you make it a decision, and that's a win for you. In my head, I'm like, oh no, you made it, you survived. Fuck, I gotta fix everything, or I'm finishing you, and I did what I was supposed to do.
For sure. And like it's very clear through your entire professional history because you've been in Cage Fury and LFA as well. And it's in those organizations, people who only follow this sport on a cursory level will say like I don't know what they'll say, regional level bums that they're beating or whatever. It's like, dude, people that train all the time that couldn't hold a candle to people that are fighting even on the smallest shows. people in
Mhm.
Cage Fury and LFA are good fighters. Of course they are. Those are two of the main feeder promotions into the UFC. And the thing about Gingrich is, like you said, like funky, like grappling. His body is just built weird. Like his elbows are at a weird spot on his arm. I feel like I feel like if you measured it, they'd be at a different spot on his arm than everybody else's. His pictures look funky. Like some people, like that's got to be part of the key to why he is, done well in these bigger organizations too. Is like he is his elbows, is the way he moves and strikes. It all is just very like a little just bit off beat.
I would like to see him and Bucka go at it. I think that would be a good fight, especially if they are staying close. If they could get Gingrich and Bucka to go at it, I think that would be a cool fight. Because I know Dylan wants to come back to the UFC, and they have a similar record, and they both wrestle well. So I mean, it'd be a good fight, I think. But no, yeah, Gingrich, he's good and he's fucking tough. I think people. I got so excited because I was like, "Ooh, I kept hurting him." So I'm like, "Cool, I'm gonna keep hurting you, and you're gonna go down." And I let my ego get a hold of me instead of just doing what I was supposed to do and work in, get the takedown, stay on top, maul, go look for the submission. Because if you look and see his record, like that's how he's losing his sub or decision. Like he didn't get knocked. He's never been knocked out. But in my head, I'm going, I'm gonna be the first one. Whoever told me that, fuck that dude. Okay. I'm never listening to my ego ever again. I say that now, but we'll have this in 2 years and I'll be like, okay, well, you'll never believe what happened. But no, it definitely allows you to see things from a different perspective.
I mean, like, you know, for a lot of people go a long time without getting knocked out, and it happens if you keep fighting. Someone's probably
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
the first one.
Yeah.
And I guess like I guess like don't get yourself out of that either. Like if the strikes are working, you keep hitting him hard. It's like I I know he's never been knocked out, but like I should probably just keep doing this.
Yeah. No, we were having success, but the thing is like if I'm going in a mindset not just to win, but to finish, the easiest route's going to be to get back to the legs, take him down, keep him down. Like it's not like the takedown itself, not difficult. It's keeping him down to that first 3 seconds where he's not doing some sort of reversal or some sort of like Peterson or Granby roll where you got to keep him down. Once you get him down there, it was fine. But like the transitions between getting to the ground and holding him for 3 seconds, that's where it got weird. All I had to do is just do what I had to do, get in, work in, boom, shoot in, hold him down secure, and then go for the finish from there. But instead, I was like, no, I keep hitting him. And you know what? It kind of feels good. So I'm going to keep hitting him. And I get it. It's fine. But I was more irritated because I could not finish him. That's where all my irritation comes from.
So, and what happened with the fight? So, at least on Tabology, it says you were scheduled to fight Daniel Keepers on September 20th at at another Ohio Combat League event.
Yeah.
What ended up happening with that one?
Well, there's a couple things. I have a, a sciatic slash back issue that'll pop up every now and then. But that's what I was dealing with there. And I fought Keegan with issues there, but it doesn't really. But I'm used to it at this point. I didn't realize who I was fighting, so I kind of just signed. Oh, I got to fight. Cool, someone's willing to fight me. I signed the contract. Didn't really look at his record. Didn't look at anything. And then I started having these issues with my legs and my back, and I'm like, okay, who are we fighting? Is it exciting enough for me to risk me getting really hurt, not just like injured, but like hurt? And then I looked at him like, this guy's what 4-2. It does nothing for me except for pad my rec. Like it didn't excite me. So then we went back through and we just like it was not worth it. Like it got to a point where it's like I think the week I got healthy was fight week. So like I could have dropped weight and made weight by then, but I think 2 weeks out is when we called it. It's like, hey, we're still not able to run. We're still not able to grapple as much as we'd like to or do these things. And it just happened to lead down that path. I think it was just more fate than anything. And then me not being excited for it just was like the cherry on top.
And so you are a two-time Ohio Combat League professional welterweight champion. As an amateur, Ohio Combat League lightweight champion, Iron Tiger FS lightweight champion. And, as a professional, you have fought at lightweight, I think, like a handful of times. It's been over the last
Yeah.
few years, it's been mostly welterweight. There was a catchweight, like in the 160s, I think, which,
Hmm.
like, on the regional scene, especially, when, like, sometimes you just have to do a catchweight. Like,
Right.
if you want to fight, and some other dude or whatever it is, it's like, hey, like, these are the circumstances. We can do 160. It's like I'm not gonna let another fight slip through or something. So it's been welterweight, like for the most recent fights over the last few years. Are there ever any thoughts about going down to lightweight, or like, is it something that you have in your back pocket if an opportunity arose, and like at lightweight and not welterweight?
Yeah, I mean it's not an easy cut. It would have to be worth it to me. It would have to be so exciting for me to miss out on the simple things in life. But I think about it often. I think that if we got to a point where we fought like a really good, like if we fought like a like top five UFC guy, and it got to the point where they just felt so strong, like we couldn't do anything, I'd be like, cool, let's just go down to 55 and deal with it that way. But like if it was a skill for skill thing and someone beat me that way, I wouldn't go down to 55. It would just depend on a lot of circumstances. One being money, like are you going to give me what I honestly deserve to go down there because I'm risking my life to to make that weight for a moment in time for me to fight again, risking my life to perform in front of whoever. So it has to deal with money, and then it also has to deal with just the circumstances around everything else.
And like, yeah, and I don't know, like the difference of how your comfort level of like welterweight versus that catchweight, but like this is sometimes another example of like, damn, there should probably be more weight classes in MMA.
Yeah, I mean, who are we though? So until the UFC's like, okay, we're gonna drop more weight classes, and then until somebody takes over the top spot of who's the best organization in the world, like people are most likely gonna keep following what the UFC does. So until the UFC changes, or until somehow, some way, someone's like, oh, we're the new big dogs. Um, until that happens, we're not gonna see a change. And I don't think Dana. He did, well, there were some talks with the 65 weight class, but I don't think he's going to do it. So maybe afterwards, after he's done, but I doubt that it's going to happen.
Like a few of the Canadian regional promotions do it a lot. Like
Mm-hmm.
Unified MMA, I think, does that stuff, and Samurai MMA. I like, you know, I think like what would be the possibility is as Dana White is getting more and more into promoting boxing, and as this Paramount deal kicks in, if that really does open up for greater compensation for fighters, especially like at the top level, and you think like, all right, now we can pay like more people championship level like money to fight more consistently. And if Dana gets into more and more boxing and he's like, oh damn! Like I can do a super welterweight championship fight a week after a welterweight championship fight. Like for
Right.
and I don't necessarily like with boxing. It can be a problem because how you can name every UFC champion right now. It's really hard to name every boxing champion,
Oh
and
yeah.
especially when it's like WBA regular, WBA world, WBO light heavyweight, cruiserweight ring
Yeah.
champion. So that stuff gets hard, but it's actually been really frustrating, like putting out episodes making picks for the UFC this year, and it seems like there's been more weight misses than ever before.
Yeah. I mean, it's rough because people assume that weight cutting is as easy as it needs to be, but like when you cut weight, especially if you do it over and over again, you're going to get some sort of low thyroid problem where your body's like, no, we will not do this. You're going to get some sort of backlash from your body because it's not healthy, it's not normal. And the thing is, like, we have to do it because other people do it. So then, unless there's some way to fix other people cutting weight and dropping 40 whatever it is plus pounds, it's like even the guys that are only doing 20 or 30, like those guys cannot be fighting like a 220 guy if they fight 185, like they have to go down to 70 and deal that because somebody that walks around naturally 225 and is going and fighting 185 in the ring, he's fucking so much more than the other guy. So it is a big problem, and it comes down to being disciplined. Like if you just ate what you were supposed to and you were perfect every day, then that's fine. But we're also human, we're all people, and it's very hard to make someone work all year round and be disciplined all year round. Not that it's impossible, but it is rough for the guys that do cut a lot of weight.
And I didn't even notice this. You were actually scheduled to fight Keegan Ginrich July of 2021 in Ohio Combat League, and what would have been your third pro fight. And that guy,
Yeah.
that's crazy. It's crazy too, like the weird serendipity of MMA, where you'll see like two guys fighting in the UFC in 2025, and it turns out they fought each other in their pro debuts back in like 2015.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. You look at Japanese fighters and the Russian fighters, like my God, they have all fought each other like over
Mhm.
like a 10-year period. Um, now like back in July of 2023, because all these opportunities you're talking about, like it would have to be a big, exciting thing, and it would really have to get you up like for that. One of those came along, back in July of 2023 when you got late notice call to fight Jack Della Maddalena in the UFC, and then the Moya Moya issue that you had to deal with. Uh,
Yeah.
so look, like I've read like three different articles that where you also talk to people about this. So
Mhm.
that's if people want to go find all the times that he's already talked about this, go find it, for other people's things where they already asked him, so that I don't have to ask him all the same questions over and over again. I'm sure I'm sure it's been most of the things you've answered and talked about, like a lot of.
Yeah.
Um, so the only question I do have about it is, I know you've said that all the states you fought in, it really hasn't been an issue. The doctor clears you, there's no problems with it. They just say, okay, it's been resolved. It's not really a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Um, are there any states that are weird about it? Because
Yeah.
I've had Dre Miley on this show, and the One-Eyed Dragon is his
Mhm.
nickname. He has one eye, yeah, one eye, and um, like he has to like find states very carefully that he can, because
Mhm.
it doesn't matter what you tell them. Like, dude, it's fine. I can't see out of that eye, but it's fine, and they just can't get past it. So I know Tennessee had been cool with his, I believe.
Mhm.
But I know some states like in the Northeast, maybe like out further, like the very West Coast, like would be weird about that kind of stuff.
Right. We were supposed to have a fight, LFA 2024 October, I want to say. And that fight out in New York we did everything. We did a weight cut. We did that. The day we go to, after we already made weight, the day we go in, they're like, hey, this as you had brain surgery? We're like, yeah. They're like, you can't fight in this state if you had brain surgery. I go, what are we doing?
Come on.
Yeah, no, that's one of the big reasons why I left my last management company, because I'm like, we need to be looking for this stuff like this. We can't just look for every opportunity and not go, hey, can we actually do any of this? So it was very irritating. It was a difficult time for me, my friends, everybody that came out to support me. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of more liberal states are very cautious about who and why they let people fight, which is okay. I mean, everybody to each their own. It's a free will country, anyways. But yeah, a lot of their excuses were because they didn't feel like it was comfortable. They didn't feel like it was okay. Yeah, so I was just like, that does not make sense to me. I have I have it signed off by the doctor that did the surgery that I am okay to perform and fight. That is why we got the surgery done. That's why we did everything. Like it was very irritating to hear doctors explaining how they felt about a thing that is for me. It's like, hey, I don't care how you feel. It's nothing to do with you. Like you don't have to like it. So it was very irritating. And yes, we have to be very careful about what states we go in, and it's just we're in a good situation now. We're just making sure that we talk and we get everything done on our side, and we make sure, hey, before we do this, before we sign this, are we going to be okay with this? Are you guys going to be okay with this? Because I'm not dealing with cutting weight. I'm not dealing with doing all this crap and getting sponsors and getting the whole thing together just to be like, I don't feel like this is safe. It's like, well, none of this is safe if we're being honest.
It is, yeah, that is a dumb thing to say, I guess. In this, I mean, you know, here's what I get about. I get that it sounds scary.
It does.
I get that it sounds like that. But the thing is, and if people like take measures to be more protective of thing, like like there's the risk of this, we don't want to do this, and it's like, okay, that's fine. But what is really bothersome is when people just won't listen to the facts of it. It's like, dude, like I'm telling you, this doctor's telling there is no problem. This isn't like it's not a risk, and it's just like but because of the way it sounds to me, you can't. Like,
Yeah.
come on, and I mean, like that had to have been particularly annoying because that was your first scheduled fight after the Jack Della fight.
Yes, it was annoying. It was depressing. I was sad for the people that came to that fight because there's a lot of people flying out. I was sad for their sponsors that ended up sponsoring that fight. Dude, I was very upset about a lot of things. But it is what it is at this point. Luckily I didn't crash out, but I was about fucking that close into just saying, who cares? Who cares about anything?
But dude, you bounced back huge. It must have been a fantastic 2025 for you to come back with 3 wins, 2 inside the distance, one over Melvin Gillard, the other over Keegan Gingrich to recapture the Ohio Combat League welterweight title, and now at 10-0 after the spot that you were in a couple of years ago, it's like, all right, now as you hate to like say it out loud because it's like you're trying to manifest it, but it's like, dude, like the call is probably it's got to be in that area of like
Yeah.
a call could come in a year, it could come tomorrow, depending on.
Yeah, we have our talks with the UFC, not we as in, but Matt, Oren, those guys discuss with the UFC a lot. After this next fight, there's absolutely no way that we are not in the UFC. We're fighting. I need to learn how to say his name. It's a guy from overseas. He's 13-2, big record. After this, I can just send you his name and let you know. I don't want to butcher it and sound like I'm a freaking dickhead. I am a dickhead in some senses, but out of respect for everything else. But it'll be for LFA, Minnesota. So just right at the beginning of the year, if we could fight more, we would have done it. We try to fight it, but it's just hard to try to find one opponents that were worth like it. Me fighting someone who's 4-2 doesn't do much. Like if it doesn't excite me, it's very hard to do. Just mentally, emotionally, and the goal would be to fight as much as we can. But luckily, we got this fight scheduled. Everything's signed. Now it's just about getting the weight down and going and have some fun in January.
Because I've had people on this show who they will say, because what's interesting about you is like you think very strategically about like your career and stuff, and you're very self-aware as to like what you want to do and like what you probably should do, because a lot of people do this thing of like, I don't want to like pick and choose or anything. I just want to stay busy, and it's like, dude, be careful what you wish for, man, because like, this is a weird sport, and 3-2 in MMA, it doesn't look good, but it's certainly a challenge. People are weird. You go through things in life, you go through different health things, and sometimes people just start off with a 3-2 record and then get better. Like so staying busy, that's all well and good, especially if it's early in your career and you're just trying to see, one, if you are good at this, and then just trying to build up a record and a reputation. But like when you are in these positions, it's like Dude, you don't need to be fighting 3-2 guys just to fight every 2 months.
Yeah.
And because already saying like is 3-2, it's like that's not gonna get you up for that. But you just don't know what that guy's gonna be like.
Yeah. It could be a 3-2 that's just fought nothing but crazy people, and he has so much experience. And now you look, however it goes, you look so much worse, or it could go not as planned. You could roll your ankle before the fight. You could trip in the fight. I mean, there's so many things fighting is so chaotic that it would be idiotic for anybody not to come in there with a mindset of okay, here's plan A, here's plan B, here's plan C. And if you're not going in there thinking about what you need to do when things go right, what you need to do when things go wrong, what you need to do in general, then you're doing the wrong sport. Like the requirement of the sport is to be physically fit. The requirement of the sport is to be tough. The requirement of the sport is not to be intellectual. But when you get down to the best in the world, there's somebody, whether it's them or a coach, that is giving them the right mindset, that is giving them the right steps and preparation and things that they need to do so they can perform the best that they can do. Like it's the smallest thing from this sport is going to be physical. Everything else is coming from the mind. So if you're just doing this to do it and do it and do it and not have any mindset behind it, if you're not having any intention behind it, it's going to be very hard to grow.
Um, I clicked on the link to your Twitter on Tapology. On Tapology for you, it has a link to a Twitter account. It goes to someone named Gianna Cooper at Joey614. And the last pinned tweet is from August 2nd, 2019. It says, follow my gaming account at Muscle3H. So
No, that was a thing. So that was my Twitter.
Okay, yeah. So
What's under that?
If you go to Tabology, your Tabology page, it goes to personal links, and it has Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Yeah, I think the last time I used Twitter was 2019. What's under that Twitter? Has he posted anything?
Let's see. Well,
I got
there's a GIF of a hamster, and then there's some stuff that just looks like gibberish. Like it's just like a bunch of like numbers and letters and like punctuation and stuff.
Is he speaking in tongues?
I don't know what it is. Um, so let's see. What was the last part of that? Oh, and like you were saying about taking busy fights is, you know, the person could also be 3-2, but they have competed in a bunch of pro grappling competitions and won a bunch of and it just they got knocked out by two guys that are 0-0 in a promotion called like Rio de Janeiro 2, and it's like I don't know what that means for this guy.
Yeah.
Like I have no idea how to evaluate that. So those are you've fought often enough, for God's sake. Like 3 times in 2025, that's great. After you hadn't been able to fight since June of 2023, so that's gotta be a fantastic way for the year to go. And so, Josiah, in this next matchup that's planned for January, what is one thing that like you're hoping to see out of your performance and out of yourself that you think wasn't there with the Keegan Gamrich fight?
Well, this guy is a something Manoff. So yeah, I don't know his background quite, but I would have to look into it. But it's definitely close to Russia. It's definitely close to one of those Dagestans or however it is. And I don't want to sound like racist or anything, so I'm just gonna shut my mouth about where he's at because I really don't know. But he's a good dude. He's very good. He's wrestling heavy. So it would be to showcase my hands, showcase my ability to adapt, and then use all the weapons we have. Think of a bigger Mighty Mouse. And that's what we're going with. If we see the grappling's available, we're going to go there. If we see the striking's available, we're going to go there. But we have the experience that is needed to finish the fight, and that's what we're doing. We're going to be patient, and we're going to be uh, in his face, and we're going to push the pace, and we're going to see how many times he shoots. We're going to see how many times he wants to stand and bang, and we're going to be very um, intentional with everything we do. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun, but it's more to prove to everybody that we're ready for these guys. Like anybody fighting somebody like this, they're in the UFC. And that's the thing. So our last two fights, guys, those are guys that could be in the UFC at the skill level they're at, and that's the thing. It's no longer. I'm not preparing for somebody that's. I don't care for anybody that's not going to help me go and be a world champ. So whether we win or lose this, it's like no. He's going to put me in a place either mentally, physically, where I have to grow, and he's going to help me become a UFC champ one day.
And yeah, like those kinds of fights that you see in LFA a lot, they're so telling for somebody's, readiness level, because the gap between, the dudes in those LFA fights and the guys that are starting off the prelims in the UFC, it's a very small gap. And really, it's not really a gap, it's more of a Venn diagram. They kind of jump around. Like
Mm-hmm.
quality can be like interchangeable. Some guys just get that call earlier. They just happen to get a matchup against a guy they can beat. And so, like, for a lot of people, it's just a matter of timing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people are excited just to be in the UFC, and those people will, I think, a lot of times just get their opportunities and do what they need to do, and then they're out, so they're in and out. And then you have guys like me, which I will take my sweet time because I'm going to keep doing what I need to do. And not that we need a favorable matchup, but once we get that opportunity, UFC knows we're gonna accept it, and we're gonna do everything in our power to do what we need to do. And then we're going on a rampage. I don't care about being ranked 12. I don't care about being in the UFC. I don't care about a lot of things. Matt needs a belt. He deserved a belt for a long time. My coach needs a belt. After that, I might just say deuces and peace out. It really just depends on situations after that. But we know what we're capable of, and it excites me more to be pushed than it does to lose. It excites me more to chase something and miss it than it does to just be okay with being mediocre.
Yeah, God, I wish they had a BMF belt back in Matt Brown's day.
Oh,
I,
oh,
I mean, like he pretty much was in
yes,
several.
absolutely.
That's the thing, like about the BMF belt. It's not even super necessary. It's good for marketing, but the thing is, when those fights happen, we all know what those fights are. It's like even when there's not a belt on the line. If tomorrow they were like, "Hey, we're gonna do Dan Hooker versus Michael Chandler too," and it's like, all right, we know that this fight is just supposed to result in like blood and someone unconscious. Like that's the point. Uh,
Yeah.
so, folks, this has been another interlude episode of RotoBaller's official MMA podcast. Tap that. Again, follow me on Twitter at RotoBrady, on Instagram at RotoBrady MMA, and the podcast at Tap That MMA Podcast on YouTube and Spotify. With me today has been 10-0 professional out of Grove City, Ohio, Josiah Muscle Hamster Harrell. Josiah, thank you so much for being here. This was a great conversation. And if there's anybody you want to shout out or you want to tell people where to find you on social media or anything, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Brady. Instagram's Josiah Harrell MMA. Anything else is probably not me. I would not look up Twitter. I do have a Facebook. That's where I usually contact all the old people like my mom and stuff. Uh, Either way, I appreciate you, Brady. Thanks for having me on.
Folks, thank you so much for listening. Have yourselves a great week and peace.